Alright everyone, oftentimes terms of service on a site, even if they are usually overly expansive, sometimes the terms themselves aren't the problem, it's the enforcement. And so what you get is a differential between how certain people are treated. Like, let's say you know the site owner, and so you get a pass, you just get a warning instead of a suspension for naughty behavior, and stuff like that. Sometimes it's more interpersonally corrupt. In the case of larger sites, usually it's ideological. For instance, there is a differential, a fairly clear differential about the sort of conduct that one can get away with if you have left-wing as opposed to right-wing beliefs on Twitter. That's very much true. Some people carry this over and they think that's prevalent on many sites. It's really Facebook and Twitter are the ones guilty of that. Like, as far as YouTube and stuff, I haven't really seen that particular bias. On YouTube, it's more like they're becoming more draconian towards everything that's political, which is why basically all independent political material has been killed off by an avalanche of algorithmic changes fairly recently, slowing down virtually every channel that primarily thrives on current events. It's happening to literally everyone. I've had other people complain about the same thing that I was complaining about the other day. It's not just me. And it's not just people who are perceived of as being on the right wing of the spectrum. But we got to talk about this, because what happened is on Twitter, a fan of Donald Trump made a video with some mashups, some stuff of Obama and Clinton, with a Dark Knight Rises musical score accompanying it. Of course, that's copyright. Do you honestly think if that score were being used by someone who were promoting the Democratic Party, do you honestly believe that it would have been hit with a copyright complaint? No, probably not. But I believe it's Warner Brothers specifically. Why? Because these companies tend to favor liberalism. These are big corporations. These are $100 million movie making groups and musical groups that make, billions of dollars a year. They favor the Democratic Party and the never-Trump Republicans. They do not want economic populism because it would mean they would have actual competition. All the monopolists, which is what they really are, and please don't call them crony capitalists because there's no capitalism involved in a non-competitive economic system, especially one where you really can't own the means of production. All of these people favor those same old policies. It's like when the Democratic Party says, well, we're for the working man and stuff, we're for the working class. Oh, you mean the working class has been slowly disappearing for the last half century? Half under your economic policies. Wow, it's almost like you're not even a liberal. You're not a liberal. What you believe in is interventionism, not a free market that can uplift people and allow them, assuming that they're willing to harvest the sweat of their own brow, that they can get ahead in the world. It's very difficult for people to do that at this point. And the one place left where people can do it most easily, which is, cyberspace, the fucking internet, is being steadily more and more stymied by a combination of censorship and taxation. So yeah, wonderful times. And that's primarily, the so-called liberals that are doing that. But it's selective. The enforcement is selective. And the selective enforcement goes beyond copyright, of course. Most of the time it's about hateful conduct, hate speech or something. It's like, you can say fundamentally, people have done this on Twitter. They'll have two accounts, make virtually identical statuses, but they'll change one word. They'll change the race or the gender involved. And then all of a sudden, an account gets banned because they have done that. They're saying exactly the same thing, but it's about a different group of people that is simply considered more equal than others. And I think that that's atrocious. I think that that's highly inappropriate, and it is itself quite bigoted. But there's a selection of morons that don't believe that. There are people. The funny part is they're the ones that constantly dwell on the differences between groups of people. It's not just, oh, you're human. No, it's you're specifically a black gay American or something like that. You are a white straight male, something along those lines. And so they treat people differently because of that, and then they call other people bigots, which is, the funniest shit ever. I'm not surprised that this would happen, and I mean, probably what'll happen is they'll use different music. Like before, when this happened, when I think they claimed copyrighted footage on a fan video actually from before, the one where Mitt Romney was shown in the crowd, where Trump was, sort of making his victory speech there, and he was sitting there uncomfortably and stuff, and it was very funny. I think it got claimed, and they simply re-uploaded, and with different music, which wasn't copyrighted, or different music. Maybe it was, but like the company didn't give a fuck. And that happens too. Like some companies do have different beliefs, and some of it's like copyright-free sort of shit as well. It's like people have asked me if they can use, sort of like the old demo works that I did for various purposes. I invariably say yes. I don't even really have to ask. It's not like I'm going to make anything off of them. Just don't try to copyright them, pass them off as yours, and don't try to monetize them. That would be a legal problem. Otherwise, I really don't give a fuck. Copyright, by the way, one of the most nasty things in the world. It's been deliberately made to be monopolistic. It's like, you realize how long, like, books and movies and shit remain copyrighted, right? Like, we're all gonna be old before we see some of the good rock from the 60s become uncopyrighted, and then they'll probably figure out a workaround to get it renewed anyway for another 1,000 years. I'm surprised that they haven't tried to extend copyright to 1,000 years, like in the most literal sense. They keep extending it when they should be pulling it back. There's no legitimate reason. Basically, once a person is dead, there should be a lapse for certain purposes, at least for derivative works. It should be, you create a new class of material. Like, okay, you want to cover this song or something, you don't have to pay the family $1 million fucking dollars or something like that. It's like, after I'm dead, like, I would expect those who I leave the legal rights to have a right to make money off my books. But if somebody else is using that edition 100 fucking years from now to work from or study from, I don't really care if they create a derivative work. It wouldn't make any sense. Like, they're not trying to sell it in my name. Unless they're trying to sell it in my name, and even then, I'm dead. What do I care? It doesn't make any sense. So it's sad when stuff like this happens. Pretty dumb. That's about all. Peace out.